Hey, hi
Hey,
everybody.
everybody.
Well, welcome to Don't Fret Friday, the Friday edition.
The Friday edition.
That's right. Don't worry. Welcome to Don't Worry Wednesday, the Friday edition. It is currently earlier than usual.
It
Um,
is.
yeah. So the early edition. Anyhow, yeah. Welcome. You all know what this is for the most part. This is a show where we talk about whatever issues you guys are going through, whatever you guys um, maybe suffering through. Maybe you guys are dealing with lost animals, or uh, maybe things aren't right with your parents, or maybe school is stressing you out. Whatever it is, whatever's on your mind, that maybe you could have a little bit of encouragement. We're here to help. We're not psychologists or anything along those lines. We're not professionals, but um, we can hope to be a good friend, to give some encouragement. Most of the time, you guys know what to do in these scenarios. You just need that bump. You just need that friend to say, you know what? It seems like these are the things you should do, and then you're like, yeah, that's exactly what I was going to do anyways. You know.
Mm.
So sometimes we just need that encouragement, or the pat on the back. So yeah, that's what we're here to do. So if you got any issues you guys are going through today, you can post that in the chat here. You can post that on our website at bss.studio, or you
Mhm.
can post that at or you can send us an email and ask to be anonymous if you wish, at dww.bss or sorry dww@bss.studio. But yeah, I see there's a lot of people here today that I've been missing. How's it going, Cody? And Senna. Also, Snowlock Holmes. I like your name. That's a pretty good name.
Yeah, that's cool.
Oh, hey Racket as well. How's it going, Racket Tag?
Yes. Well,
So
I
how you guys doing
imagine
today?
it's definitely possible that our attendance will be a little bit lower right now just because of different Good Friday stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
so
Yeah, we're doing good. Thanks, Cody. Using underground Wi-Fi from the train.
underground, nice.
Oh, the stream stops every few seconds or so. Oh well.
Hey,
Well, it's better than your train stopping every few seconds.
that,
That's for sure.
that's very true.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Bree.
Hey, hey,
How's it
Bree.
going?
Hey,
Love you
Keaton.
too. Hey, Keaton. Nice to see you. Nice. Actually, we've got. Do we have one from Keaton? No, we did that last time. Cool.
Yep, we did Keaton's last time. We do have an old one from Cody. He said that we didn't have to do it. I don't think. All right, I think
Ah,
that's what he said.
yeah. There
Uh,
was. It seems like there's a lot of these got removed or disappeared now on us. Cody. Uh. Oh, you can't hear me because you're watching Aquaman. Oh, okay.
ah,
Well, I gotta type in the chat then. We love you too. Enjoy the show.
yeah, that's a good movie, Aquaman.
Yeah, I've heard good
Ah,
things about it. There's only 3 people. No, there's a couple more than 3 people here. Um, it's a low attendance right now. It'll probably spike up here and within the next hour, because most of the time we don't start until like 8-ish.
right.
So people are used to that. But starting at 7 gets some other people the availability to join when they normally can't. So it can be good to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, this list looks like it got kind of cut down quite a bit. Hey, Drachi, how's it going? See, people are showing up, showing. What? I don't know. Ah, I see. You just announced on Discord. Thanks, Jesse.
Thanks, Jesse.
Drachi. Regular. He's sending his planes. Those are a bunch. That's like an airplane squad.
And hey, big sis, Drachi, who's your big sister?
Oh, Keaton. Yeah, that's right.
Is Keaton your actual sister?
Nah,
Okay.
nah.
It's a
Prachi,
squad.
yeah. If that would be interesting if that was the case. They live in completely different places. But yes, different countries. But
Hey,
hey, I mean, you can have a brother in a different country or
it could
whatever.
happen. It could happen. We've had siblings on the show before, and
Hmm.
I don't know if they were in the same room or different rooms.
Oh,
Uh, yeah, we've also had people in long distance relationships on the show together.
oh
But
yeah, for sure.
yeah, it's
That's fun.
fun too.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Server sister. Okay. Actually, it's pretty much the same age as my siblings. Oh, really? Interesting. Your siblings are older than than you. Well, it makes sense. You calling her big sis then. Yeah.
I was asking about your post, Cody,
Yeah.
because you had one from the end of March called "My Mistakes."
Mm-hmm.
And I just noticed, and I was just going through the website to see some stuff that see what we haven't handled yet.
Yeah, and my mistakes. Yeah, I was retracted.
Snowlock Holmes just came from an art presentation.
Oh, nice. What kind of art?
It was miserable.
It was miserable. Was it miserable art? Was all the art like? Was that the theme? I don't need it done, but if you guys want to do it, I'm sure it would make for a good discussion. Oh, okay. Nice. Then we may. That way we have something to kind of kickstart this off with
Yeah.
while people continue to show up here. Hey, Toasty, how's it going? Nice to see you. Yeah. Okay.
Wow, Toasty, we haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Maybe you've been here and we just haven't seen you.
Yeah, that could be the case. Every once in a while that happens. All
Well,
right.
why don't
Why
we
don't we do
get
that?
started with
Yep.
Cody's here?
Let's do it. Cody, thank you for your permission to do this retracted one. Yeah. So let's jump right into it. Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
This is called My Mistakes. Like this is from Cody. It was posted a little while ago, but not too long ago. This was posted like half a month ago or something. Anyways, says this. A few weeks ago, an apartment right next to my best friend opened up, and my mom called to try and get the same day or get it the same day it went up, but was told it was taken. A few hours ago, as of my writing this, my friend told me that a second one went up, and so I told my mom, and she said that she would call tomorrow morning. A few minutes ago, as of writing this post, my friend told me, that Elena from the post I made titled The Dark Ages was the person that got the first apartment. And Haley from my post titled Moving On is also trying to come back into my life. So now, right as I'm in the worst mindset I've been since my breakup with Haley, and right as I'm trying to move on from what I've done in my past, life is continuously drilling how bad my mistakes are further and further into my head. You don't have to you don't have to really go over this since you guys have already done 2 of these types of posts from me. I'm mostly just posting because I need to talk to someone, and you guys are the best people to tell this stuff to about this stuff. Tell about this stuff. Jeez, oh my gosh.
Oh man.
I'm
How's that last sentence treating you?
Oh, it's perfect. I did it perfect every time I said it.
Perfect
Um,
every time.
yeah, perfect every time. Um, yeah. Okay. So yeah, I read it a bit weird, but you guys can deal with that. Um, that's interesting. So basically, 2 of your exes are kind of just or at least were kind of showing up in your life unexpectedly
Mhm.
in a somewhat out of your hand or out of your control sort of way. Um, Elena and Haley, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Elena was moving in next or near you. Yeah. Um, and then Haley was contacting you. All right, cool. So just out of curiosity, since you retracted this, I assume that you figured it out and got through it. Um, and so if you'd like to tell us what you did, um, that would be cool. Um,
Well,
but yeah.
Cody says Elena's still in that apartment, but I
Oh,
kind of avoided the whole Haley thing.
okay, cool.
Mhm.
So okay, cool. All right. Um, yeah. And Joe, do you remember who Elena was from the
Yeah. Yep. I
from
remember those two topics.
Dark Ages? Okay, cool. Awesome. That's good.
Yep.
Um,
So yeah, those are in there for anyone who's curious. You can go back if you go to bss.studio. You go to the questions from the live stream. You can find the other topics. The one titled "The Dark Ages," and then one titled "Moving On," and that give you some background information
sure.
into this situation. But yeah, Cody's got some hauntings from the past, it seems
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Cool.
that's an interesting
Would you
thing.
like to would you
What's
like
that?
you want to go for it?
Okay.
Yeah, go for it.
Uh no, you're fine, Cody. You didn't need to explain more. But
It's all good.
I tell you, it's kind of it can definitely be tough. It's so weird how things come back around.
Mm,
Ex-girlfriends, just stuff from your past, it seems to come and find its way back to you in the weirdest way. Like, I don't know, man, I had this girlfriend that I dated. Oh my gosh, this was back in 1996 or 97. It's my first serious relationship. And this was like right after this was like right at the end of high school and everything. And so we had a serious relationship for a couple years, and then we broke up, and it was hard and painful and all this kind of stuff. And she ended up getting together with one of my friends, and then ended up getting married to him. And so that was definitely interesting. But we kind of went our separate ways, and then that was it. And then a few years later, this was like right after my wife and I got married. I saw her at a wedding reception. And then she was all like trying to reconnect with me on Facebook, and I was like, I just got married, and found out we're like this was weird. But so that was crazy. And then this is the even crazier part. Just this last year, so this is what, 14 years later, 13, 14 years later, my kids are taking swimming lessons at this swim school, and who shows up? This ex-girlfriend. She's bringing her kids to the swim school. And it was like, what? So we we didn't really talk to each other, but we acknowledged each other's presence, I guess. But when you have a weird, touchy subject like that, you got to break up, and it's hurtful and it's hard, and everybody's kind of a mess afterward. And then when they come back into your life, it's just all this awkwardness kind of comes back in. It's weird. It's almost like the more serious the relationship is, the more awkward it is. Because I've got girls that I went out with a few times, and if I run into them, it's no big deal. But it was the ones that had the real serious relationships. Those are the ones that it gets weird. Like you can't ever go back to just like normal, hey, friends type of thing. At least I
mm.
have trouble with that. If you have figured out how to do that, I would be all ears. Maybe it's just a way that that I don't know how to deal with that. But um, yeah, it can definitely be a challenge, and sometimes the best thing to do is just avoid situations like that. In fact, it wasn't long after they started going to that swim school that we left and took our kids someplace else to go swimming. Not necessarily because of them being there, but I remember when we made that decision, just this just feeling of relief coming over me because I was like, oh my gosh, now I don't have to, go there and see all of them every week, you know?
That's fair.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I see you're not necessarily looking for advice. But and it sounds like this type of situation can it can definitely help you learn how to act. You look back, I mean, it's titled My Mistakes. Mistakes can be some of the best things that happen to us if we learn how to change our behavior, how to do things better, how to grow and be better people from those experiences, as painful as they might be sometimes. um, I have my kids I have my kids trained. you know I say, hey, what's dad good at? And they always say, messing things up. I'm like, that's right, because that's how you learn. And every time, I'll say that, and somebody who hasn't heard that yet will say, why would you teach your kids that? That's so wrong. I'm like, I don't want them to be afraid of making a mistake. I want them to understand that that's how life works. You make mistakes, you learn, and you grow from that. Cody, updates. I feel like it's more awkward with the ones that you went out with just a few times because you guys didn't really live out the full cycle of a relationship. That can be true. No sense in putting yourself through uncomfortable situations if you can avoid them. Absolutely. But yeah, it's weird. Relationships just get weird sometimes. And that's why, it's much easier to just be friends and kind of keep the romance out of it as best you can.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, no, I see it was a comment on what I said. No, that's cool. But anyway, Ryan, did you have anything to talk about with this one?
Sure. Yeah. So, Elena is the one that told pretty much everybody that Cody raped them, even though obviously
Oh
he
yeah.
didn't. Um, which is, yeah. And then they move in next door to you. It's not like just awkward. It's also like kind of enraging. I could
Hmm.
imagine, like, ah, this girl, and now she lives next to me. You got to be kidding me, right? And you're trying to just kind of forgive and get through it all. It can be hard sometimes, you know. But yeah, you were very angry that night. Yeah, I can imagine.
Hmm.
So it's one of those things where it's like you forgive somebody, but then they show up, and then it's like, I thought I forgave this person, but clearly I'm still very mad at them. um, and it can be really difficult sometimes it can be really easy to forgive something because it's in the past and we're kind of disconnected from it. But then when it shows up again, it tests our ability to forgive again, right? And we got to stick to it and say, you know what, no, it's done with. I've moved past this. And then that's proven by how you treat the person next time you see them, right? Are you able to hold yourself and be kind, despite the past, the history there? Um, and so it's just one of those moments that tests your mettle, tests uh, your fortitude, if you will, your staying power, and what you're trying to do, in moving forward and all of that kind of stuff. You know, um, yeah. So hopefully, you can remain calm through it all. whenever you run into her, and you can just have a sincere and kind attitude. Um, because a lot of times, really, you just got to be compassionate and pity them. Because if someone does something like that, then you know that they're mentally not in a right place. Of course, that all of us have our problems, but um, that's a pretty big problem,
Mhm.
to lie about something like that, to their parents or whatever.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, you kind of uh, you kind of got to pity them and just say, it's like, that's these poor people. They don't know very. They either they don't understand the value of doing what's right, um, or they don't know what's right.
Mhm.
um, and both of those are kind of bad places to be. So, um, Cody says, the more I've thought about it, the more I just tell myself that if I ever go to my best friend's house, I would just stay inside all the time and avoid her completely. Yeah. Yeah. And it was your friend's house, not your house. Yeah. Somewhere near your friend or next door to your friends. Yeah. Um, in here's the thing. Here's the thing, Cody. You're gonna one day you might get a job, and not saying for sure, but there might be people there that are not good people to hang around at your workplace. And you have to take it upon yourself to be patient and forgiving and
Mhm.
just deal with it. Because I'll tell you what, pretty much most workplaces have that. I worked at a couple different places, and I've had that before, but um, I was blessed enough to have a job where, working there was nobody that was a bad person. Everyone was everyone was amazing. Everyone was like super kind and so on. But most jobs, you got your bad apples, right?
Mhm.
And so when even outside of this this social realm of school and all of that, um, in the workplace it happens too. And then you have to figure out, maybe you date somebody from your workplace and that gets really weird, right? And then something bad happens there, and then you hate them because they're just terrible people, right? And then you have to work with them, right? It's actually usually why people are like, don't date the people you work with, because we don't want the relationships to get all weird and funky,
Mhm.
you know? Um, but it it happens, you know? And what do you do? What do you do when that's the case? You just kind of got to be the best person you can be, basically, all times, especially in the presence of those who test our uh, um, ability to be that best person, who
Mhm.
really test our emotions and stuff. So, Joe was talking about having relationships and it being awkward for him. I don't have any relationships that I went through and then we broke up and are now awkward. Pretty much every relationship I've been in has ended on a good note, or if not necessarily a good note, um, immediately after we've made up. Like I have had relationships that broke up on a bad note, but it was only like, eh, a week after, and we're still talking, we're still being, friends. Um, and I think that's really the main difference there. If you break up with somebody and you want to keep it solid, actually have them be a friend, I think the main point is you got to be their friend.
Mhm.
Otherwise, it just gets awkward, right? Um,
Right.
and I think
But
even with people that things are awkward with, you have that opportunity, you have that ability to make a friend there. Your relationships aren't set in stone. They aren't just like, this is the way it is and this is how it's always going to be. Um, Relationships move and develop and
mhm.
change by each other's words or interactions with each other. Um, but a lot of times you got to ask yourself, is it worth it? Um, is it worth the hardship that might befall you or them, just to create that friendship, which might be superficial because there's no um, there's no reason to have it. Um,
Mhm.
other than just trying to make sure that you have them as a friend, which is good, but it's not necessary. Not everybody has to be our friend. Anyways, it sounded like you were gonna say something, Joe. What was that?
Oh, I was just gonna say in my situation with that, part of the issue there is because of, I'm married now
Mm-hmm.
and she's married now. And so like if we were to rekindle some type of friendship, even as hands off as it might be,
Mm-hmm.
there could still lend itself to being suspicion in our
Yeah,
marriages and all kinds of stuff, so
that's a
just to
yeah.
keep that as far away from, you know, the mind as possible, I think is
Sure.
kind of the idea there.
Yeah, I didn't think about that, because I wouldn't be one to have that suspicion. But a lot of times when people there are a lot of different reasons people become suspicious.
hmm
And sometimes, well, usually they're pretty selfish reasons. Um,
Well, it's a
but
lot of times it's a self-esteem issue or
yeah,
a
a
low
lot of times it's a
self-confidence
self.
or something like that.
Mhm.
And we
I didn't
had to
mean
be loving
selfish.
and
I meant
charitable.
self-centered reason. It's
Yes,
not
that's
about you. It's about
right.
themselves. Yeah, not
Mhm.
selfish, but rather, yeah, it's a self-esteem issue. You're not sure of the other person, mostly because you're not sure of yourself, or sometimes it's because you want dirt on the other person. There are
Mm-hmm.
reasons,
Yeah, you want something you can
selfish.
hold over their head.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know, uh,
Mhm.
Cody says
Yeah.
I'm not married or in any relationship, so he can't relate. Hey, there may come a time when you can.
Yeah. Go out there, Cody. You can do it.
Hey,
Just find a gal and marry her. It's no big deal. Like,
it's
you know,
no big deal.
just like walk out into the street and be like, "Wow, you're quite a gal. Would you like to marry me?" And then you are going to get a weird response. Probably
Yes, you would.
mostly a really weird look. They're gonna give you a look like, excuse me, dumbfounded, and get away from me, you creep.
Rack Attack's gonna go do that.
Nice. Good luck, Rack Attack. Rack Attack, you have a girlfriend. Don't do that. That's a bad idea. I might go actually do that. You have a girlfriend. Don't do that. That's a bad idea. She might get suspicious of your marriage. uh
Wow, you're really awesome. Will you marry me?
yeah. Wow. I like your shoes. They're like, will you marry me? You should just interject. You should interject upon your compliment. Like, wow, what kind of shampoo to use? Because your hair, will you marry me? They'll be like, whoa, that went fast. Wow.
Yeah, I don't know where this is going.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, yeah, it's quite an interesting thing how life always brings back our past, and then we have to stand our ground there and do our best to just be the best we can be in
mhm,
those moments.
right. Well, and part of it, it really kind of lends itself to learning how to forgive yourself. Because, I mean, even though we all make mistakes, and sometimes we get reminded of those mistakes right in front of us, like you're dealing with now, Cody, with Elena moving in right next door to your friend. So, like, you have this new reminder of this past, you know, issue and different mistakes you made and different things. And, you know, I get plagued like that. I don't always get it like shoved right in front of my face in the physical world, but recently it's weird. Like I've I've been reminded of mistakes that I made when I was like 15 years old,
Mm.
and I've just been like being reminded of these. They just pop into my head, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, and I sit there and I like stew about it for a few minutes. I'm like, wait a second, that was so long ago.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm a grown
like,
man. What am I
oh my
doing?
gosh, like how but I have to I actually have to like forgive myself again, and be like, okay, it's in the past. There's nothing I can do about it now. Anybody that I've hurt through in that situation, I have to pray for them, and that's the best I can do, because I don't have contact with these people anymore or anything like that. But it's just it becomes an exercise in self-forgiveness, which is really interesting, because the faster you can forgive yourself for making a mistake and move on, the faster you're going to grow, and the faster you're going to be able to like just clear your head of all the garbage and just focus on the stuff you got to do now. Because the more we get focused on our past mistakes and the problems and stuff like that, it becomes like weights that we have to carry around, and you'll move much, much faster and more efficient the more you're able to let go of that. So you can treat this like an exercise in forgiving yourself. So that would be something.
Yeah,
20
Tap, it's
minutes.
about looking forward. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sometimes it happens though, Joe. You're right. Like sometimes it's just like you're like doing anything. You're like doing laundry or you're working on something, and all of a sudden just like, hey, remember that one time you messed up? It's like, dude, shut up.
Yeah.
It's like that has
I
nothing
do
to do
remember
with
that one
this.
time I messed up. Ah, dang it.
Yeah. Like that was something completely different, you know? Why did that pop in my head? Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
the way your hair smells. Now marry me. What if they're
Yeah.
bald like Joe?
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
I got black
Hey.
hair on today.
Nice black hair. Oh, whoa. Okay. Yeah, that got weird. You just pushed your hair up.
Then you could be like,
And
wow,
reset.
your scalp smells great.
Yeah, what do you use on
What
your
do you
scalp?
use?
Oh my
Oh
gosh.
man, it's probably aftershave.
Wow, your scalp is so smooth. Yeah, it's aftershave. Yeah, that would be it. So
Why
weird.
are we talking about scalps?
Finally home. Why are we talking about scalps? I'm sorry, we derailed.
Yep, we did.
Yeah. Anyhow, yeah. I hope that helps,
I do have
Cody.
a
I
nice
know that
scalp.
you've already kind of figured this out. That's why you retracted
Let
it.
everybody
But
see my scalp.
whoa. Oh my gosh, it
It's getting to
smells
be
so nice.
springtime. I should let my scalp out.
The whole air, everything smells better.
Whoa. Toasty, you have inspired me to remove my hat.
Nice. Simply Toasty.
But it
Also,
might be getting cold.
Is it getting cold on your head now?
A little bit.
A
It's
little
not.
bit.
If it gets bad, you'll know, because I'll put my hat back on.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Anyways, thanks for the question. Yeah, I know that you retracted it, but you know, talking about this sort of stuff, it's still good. And thanks for reopening it for us to just kind of have something to talk about and chit chat. So you're awesome, Cody. We love you. Thanks for being you. We like that. Okay. Cool. Well, why don't we head on to the next one? Science has showed up. Hey, Science.
Yes.
And we've got one from them.
Yep. And we also have Enderboy 7. And Toasty says that there's one in Discord.
Oh. Oh yeah, there is. Uh-huh. There is one in Discord.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Toasty.
All right, yeah. I'll we'll get to it. Awesome. Well, let's do science first.
Okay.
And then we'll if no one else shows up, we'll do Toasty. We try to do these in order. That's why yeah. That way people don't have to wait like 12 years before we get to theirs, even though sometimes they have to because they don't show up. But regardless,
Science, this is how to handle this relationship. Is that correct?
yeah, you said it's a little bit of a repeat question, but my circumstances have also changed from beforehand. All right.
So there's the link for this one.
All right.
If I sent the right one, how to handle this relationship.
Yeah. I'm guessing this is the one, right?
Yeah. You know the one.
You know the one. This is the one. So, okay. This is from Science. It's called how to handle this relationship. And it reads like this. I still don't know how to handle this person. They clearly like me. I know that much. But if I've done something to upset them, they won't ever tell me what it is. I'm tired of some people saying, try introspection. It's not always their fault they're ignoring you, or something stupid like that. Because if they don't tell me what I did that upset them, how am I supposed to know how to fix it? As I once stated before, they were very open to talk to me at first. And then I must have done something they wouldn't tell me about. That upset them. Or sorry, I must have done something whatever. I must have done something they wouldn't tell me about that upset them because it was a very sudden change. Using a few tricks I learned from Les Gibling. What? I learned from
Les
Les
Gibling.
Gibling got them to open. Oh, okay. I learned that Les Gibling got them to open up slightly, but just for that moment. Oh, got it. A few tricks you learned from Les Gibling. Okay, that's the author that wrote.
Yeah, the book.
Which one?
How to Have Confidence and Power in Dealing with People.
Okay, thank you. All right, I was like, that name is so familiar. Okay, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, using a few tricks you learned from Les Gibling, you got them to open up slightly, but just for a moment. I want to help them and be their friend, and even make much progress. Oh nope, I skipped a line. And even get closer to them again. But how can I handle this person and get them to open up? I've tried being kind and being blunt and a bunch of things, but I don't seem to ever make much progress. At least that's how it feels. I just want to be able to interact with them better and help them. What do I do? Okay. So you've got a friend who your positive likes you, but they keep on kind of closing themselves, shutting themselves off, putting walls up, and you you've tried some things. I mean, last time we've talked, I think I don't know if we recommended the book then, but obviously we recommended the book before, and that's awesome that you read it. But yeah, we've talked about this person before and how they kind of just close things off, and you're looking for more advice or ways to get through to the person. So, um, yeah, um, I'll looking forward to see what Joe has to say on this, all of this, and I'll let
I'm
him
looking forward to that too. Joe?
have this moment. Take it to Joe. Joe, all right. Try to drag that out
Wow,
as far as
science.
possible.
What's that?
I said I tried to drag that out as long as possible for you. So
Oh, thanks. Yeah, that way I
yeah, I'm
had
still
time to
doing it
think.
right now. Yeah,
Right. Perfect.
yeah.
Um, wow, science. Thank you for posting. Definitely, it gets really weird when you get these romantic feelings involved and stuff and everything like that. Especially like if somebody likes you and they act weird around you, you know, there could be a few things going on. Um, so, sometimes it's because they like you and they decided they shouldn't like you, so they're making themselves not like you.
Hmm.
And so it's kind of this inner battle that they have going on, and that could be something going on. Another thing could be they
He says,
like you.
"Whoa, whoa! Who said it was romantic?"
Wait, oh, sorry. They clearly like me is what
Yeah,
that's what I'm taking this from, right?
yeah. They said they clearly
If
like me. I know that much.
if it's just a friendship
But
situation, I'm
maybe
sorry.
maybe it's just a like,
But
yeah.
yeah, but this, like, the whole weird thing to me is like, okay, so maybe they like you more than just friends, and so then they're trying to insert a little bit of drama in there just to make things exciting. I mean, that could be too. Oh, so I don't know. That's the problem. Okay,
Oh, I don't know.
so they're succeeding
That's
in
they're
this whole
succeeding.
mysteriousness game they're playing, and I don't know. I mean, It depends on what you're trying to do. Okay, so science, at the end, you say, I just want to be able to interact with them better and help them. What do I do? So sometimes you have to be a little bit patient and let people come around. And also just maybe be assertive and professional, be normal, be you, be nice and kind, and whatever game they're trying to play, just don't let it affect you when you're there in front of them. Now, I know when you're not with them, you'll be pulling your hair out. Like I pulled all my hair out. That's why I have that.
Oh.
Because I dealt with people like this. So, but excuse me, sometimes the best thing you can do is just let them know. You don't have to tell them outright, but just in the way you act, just don't play the game with them. Because it sounds to me like that's kind of what's going on. They're doing things, they're okay, let's see. I'm just reviewing this. They were very open to talk to me at first. Then I must have done something they wouldn't tell me about. It upset them because it was a very sudden change. Okay. So they were open to talk to you and then now not at all? Or do they come and talk to you? Are they mean to you or do they just ignore you? Like how, I guess that would be my question. But one thing you can do, I guess it depends on the type of thing you're trying to accomplish, but next time you see them, you can ask them. You just straight up ask them and put them right on the spot. You can be like, hey, did I do something that offended you? Because if I did, I really, really didn't mean to. They're very dismissive. Okay. So they're not mean, but dismissive. So, all right. So I guess that would probably be the best thing to try. At least the thing that I would try was just go up to them and say, hey, did I do something that offended you? Did I do something that upset you? Because if I did, I'm very sorry. I did not intend to do anything that offended you. And I remember going through this actually with a person where I was trying to help them out in a situation where they were dealing with a little bit of tension with another person. And I'm like, well, why don't you apologize to them? And they're like, well, I don't need to apologize. I didn't do anything wrong. I'm like, exactly. Were you trying to make them upset? No. And yet they're upset, right? Well, yeah. So it's their fault. It's their fault they're upset. Okay. If somebody's upset with you, they're upset with something that you did or something that you are or something like that. If someone's upset with you, there's a reason for it, right? Now, did you intend to make them upset? No. Okay. So go apologize for making them upset because you weren't trying to make them upset. So that's something you can be sorry for. But it's not my fault. I didn't do anything wrong. And here we are back to this. I'm just so lost and baffled. I know. I totally understand. I am too. Okay, science, you've tried that. You've tried apologizing many times. Is that how that is?
He was saying, yeah, he tried asking what they did wrong.
Okay.
And gotten probably a limited result, or maybe was dismissed. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if you've tried asking and apologizing, okay. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what else you can do. Except for just be friendly to them. Because if you've asked and you've apologized and they're still acting dismissive toward you, then the best thing you can do is just remain open for when they're going to come back to you. So just don't close the relationship off. So it might take some patience. Maybe they're just not ready to talk. Maybe they're testing the waters a little bit. Maybe, there could be all kinds of things going on in their head. But if you've already done that stuff, if you've asked them and you've apologized and you've sincerely tried to amend the situation, and then it just hasn't gone anywhere, then at that point, I think this is where patience comes into play. And I'm terrible at patience. I'm trying to get better and better at it. But yeah, I think at that point, once you've already done that and they're still being the same way, then I think rise above it. Whatever the drama is, just think, okay, I'm above this. I'm going to be ready for them when they're ready to come talk to me. I will be ready to talk to them. And then go about your business elsewhere. And just try not to think about it too much, I guess. Because sometimes, I know for me, I've got enough going on in my own head that when someone's playing a little game like that with me out in the world, like, I don't really have time to get involved with that. There was a time, there was a time when I did some. Actually, I didn't do anything. What happened was my phone didn't ring. My wife had tried to call me like 4 times, right? My phone didn't ring. Like, nothing. And so she was just really mad at me for a few days. And she was just really like short with me, and not like, anytime I'd call her, she wouldn't answer the phone. Anytime I text her, she wouldn't answer the text. I'm trying to figure out, I'm out working and we've got Taekwondo, and I'm trying to coordinate how she's going to get the boys to there and I'm going to take them, whatever, and what's going to happen. We're coordinating schedules. I'm trying to do that. And she's totally not even responding to me because she's mad at me, because in her mind, what I did was I ignored her phone calls, which that would make somebody mad for sure. But just somebody ignored their phone calls, and a bunch of them. Usually I know, like, if I get 1 phone call, I can let it go to voicemail. If I get 2 phone calls from her, I better answer it, or at least call her back like right away. But in this case, she called me like 5 or 6 times because she had something really important to tell me, and I just didn't answer because I never got the call, right? I never got any of them. And so finally what I had to do was I had to call her mom and ask her, like, is she mad at me for something? Yeah, you didn't answer your phone when blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I didn't get any calls. Like, and so finally we worked this issue out. But at that time, we had other things to deal with. Like, we had Taekwondo scheduling, we had gymnastics, I think was going on, and basketball. So we had like 3 things going on, and we were coordinating to try and get people somewhere. Like, we don't have time to play this little game. We got real world things to deal with here. And so at that point, what I had to do was just say, hey, I didn't get these phone calls. I'm really sorry. I didn't intend to make you upset, but I did without me knowing it. And so then eventually we had to, it got smoothed out once everything got figured out and everything. It was just fine. But what I had to do in that moment was rise above it and be like, all right, we've got more pressing issues to deal with. Let's handle all that stuff. And then, we can get to the bottom of this at a certain time. But so if you've already tried to apologize and you've asked what's going on, they're not responding, then yes, I would say rise above it, be open for when they come back to talk to you. So Ryan, what do you have?
Yeah. Besides, I think that Keaton was saying, sounds like you said they're a nice person, very supportive of people, and constantly worrying about how other people feel. I think that's what Keaton was saying. That sounds like you. She was trying to compliment you on that. There you go. I don't. Yeah, there you go. Um, so anyhow, yeah. Basically what Joe said is pretty much all I would say. Sometimes you have people that um they just don't really want to have a relationship with you. Um, and so they try to distance themselves from you. So that can be an option or a possibility too. She's intentionally trying to distance herself from you, but she's also too nice to try to like just say I'm distancing myself from you. I'm leaving because I don't you know want anything from this relationship or whatever. Um, because she doesn't want to be a jerk, so she's just kind of being um short with her words and so on. Um, I know that in the past, I've had relationships that were really good, and then they kind of just fell apart, and the person didn't really want to talk to me anymore. I would talk to them, but it would always be like just really short words, short conversations. They were not talkative; like you couldn't really even have much of a conversation with them. You'd say something and they reply with like 2 words, that sort of thing. So and that was because not because I did anything wrong, but because they didn't care. Um, not because I hurt them or I had something to be sorry for. Um, but because they just didn't want the relationship to continue, or they had no desire to continue the relationship. So sometimes that can be the case. Um, and so when that's the case, right? Um, it's all right to let those friendships go. It doesn't hurt anything. It's okay. Um, if they just completely stop talking to you, then that's okay. Life goes on, life moves forward, and there's um other friends to be had and that sort of thing. Um, but yeah, I wouldn't worry about it too much if that's what happens, right? It's nothing that you've done. At this point, I mean, you've gone through the steps of assuming maybe you've done something wrong, right? Um, but maybe it's not you that's done something wrong. Maybe it is, but maybe you've done nothing wrong. Instead, they've just lost interest, or they don't have a desire that pulls them towards wanting um, to flesh out your friendship, a relationship like that. Um,
Or maybe they did something that they're not proud of. Maybe they did something they feel was wrong. And so they're feeling self-conscious about it. So they're
Yeah,
distancing
that's a
themselves.
good point too. That's actually a very good point. There have been many times where I know, like myself or other people, you know, when you've done something, when you've messed up or you've let someone down, you kind of just like try not to approach them anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I used to do that with like schoolwork, even like, oh no, I didn't do my homework. Now I can't even like look at the teacher in the eye. And then
Mm-hmm.
um, I don't want to turn it in late or undone. It's only 3 of the 20 questions are done. So I don't, I'm just not going to turn it in, all that kind of stuff. Play those mind games in your head because you're disappointed in yourself and then you don't want to talk to them. So there's all sorts of different reasons here. There are lots of different things that could be going on, and we don't know what that is, right? So maybe instead of asking what you did wrong, instead maybe approach it like, hey, uh, I noticed this about our relationship, and I'm curious um, if everything's all right. I'm wondering, um, if you're okay, that sort of thing. Um, but I wouldn't expect too much out of that question. You can try it. But mostly here is kind of what Joe started out with. Try not to get too emotionally involved with it because you don't know what's going on. And if you don't know what's going on, being controlled by that unknown
Mm-hmm.
isn't gonna set you on a path that's good, right? In this
Mm-hmm.
case, the unknown isn't always bad, but I mean, in this case, where it's kind of like a an unpleasant unknown, you know, they're distancing themselves from you. You don't know why. So don't get worked up over it. Don't let it decide how you feel throughout the day. And don't let it decide how you feel about your relationship either. That's just how your relationship is right now with that person, right? It can change. It can, you know, it was one way before and now it's this way. And it can change again. Um, and I think the best thing you can do is just be a good friend. You don't necessarily have to bring up the issue. Um, Sometimes it's better not to bring up the issue because they're trying to work through it already themselves, and it can hurt. Sometimes it can hurt more to bring up the issue because it causes a conflict with their pride, or it annoys them, um, or that kind of stuff. So occasionally, the best thing to do is to just do nothing at all when it comes to solving the problem for somebody else.
Hmm.
This is something that's going on in her head, right? That's why she's choosing to act this way. So it's something going on in her head. We can't we can't know what that is until she says. So it's better not to assume anything at all, and instead be open for when they tell you, if they ever decide to tell you. They might never decide to tell you. The best thing you can do though is just be a friend, be a good person,
Hmm.
be something that hopefully inspires her to become a better person. Um, and you've heard us talk about it many times before, science. If you want to change somebody, one of the best ways to do that is change yourself.
Hmm.
um, work on yourself the best you can to chase after those virtues and um, grow in those ways, and then hopefully see that become fruit, um, that yields other people's growth, or sorry, seeds rather, I should say, seeds that yield growth in other people. um, but yeah. You say, "Yeah, my anxiety it gets the better of me sometimes." Yeah, no, totally, totally get it. Especially when it comes to relationships. I mean, I can be quick to be like, "Oh no," and start freaking out because uh, I think there's something there that's not good. But I have to remind myself sometimes, like, "Wait a minute, you don't know anything about this yet. Don't jump to conclusions. Don't assume the worst. Instead, I mean, it's okay to plan for the worst. Awesome. Yeah. But don't suspect the worst. Um, Always suspect the best. Because then it puts you in the attitude that's correct for handling them. If you approach somebody and you think they're going through a bad time, you're going to approach them with a negative sense of attitude. Your attitude is going to be, yes, sincere and trying to help them, but it will also be kind of down. You know what I mean? You're going to be like, hey, seems like you're going through something. And then it's like, what are you talking about? I'm not going through anything at all, right? You're misreading the situation, right? But because you misread it, it makes them feel like they messed up, right? It makes them feel like they did something wrong, or wow, this person thinks that I was down when I wasn't down. That's weird. Is there something wrong with what I did? Is there something wrong with the way I'm acting? You don't want to try to put those thoughts in people's heads. So um a lot of times it's better to act ignorant so that you can create the friendship or the relationship required to then act on issues. If I bring up somebody's issues, how am I going to get close to them to help them through those issues if they're trying to wall me off from those issues, right? If I'm meeting somebody, or even if they're an old friend, and I'm just saying, "Hey, it seems like you've got this problem and this problem," is that building my relationship with them? Probably. Most likely, they just want to get away from that because they don't want me bringing up their problems.
Hmm.
They just want someone to have a fun time with, right? And if instead you just give them that good time, that allows the time and the conversations that then lead to that trust between people, which then can now get to the points of um, issues that are there. Then you're in a relationship where you can help them. So um, sometimes it's way better to just drop the issues and go for the friendship. Be ignorant as if they have no flaws, and just say, "Wow, you're an amazing person. You've got this going for you." And when they bring up their flaws, be like, "Pfft, "What are you talking about? I don't notice any of that." That'll make them feel awesome, because the less you notice their problems, the less they feel like they are a problem. Because it sounds like this person has probably some self-esteem issues, right? And so if you notice their problems and you bring those up to them, that makes them feel a lot worse.
Mm,
So it's better to just pretend those problems don't even exist. And when they come up, forgive them, pardon them, be like, you know what? It's all right. We all make mistakes, whatever. Let's go on. Let's just be friends, right? And then eventually you get to that point where it's like, hey, we're close enough now. I trust you, you trust me, and I've let my walls down for you, and you can come in and you can help me out now, right? That's that's what you got to aim for. Now I can't say that you'll ever get there. It's really up to the other person. But again, leaving the problems aside first. A lot of times we're quick to judge people, but even this can be, a type of judgment, saying, "Oh, they've got this problem. Hey, let me help with them. Help them with that." It can be very unwelcomed, and it can push them away more than draw them in, because your intentions are good, right? But yeah, they feel terrible, right? Instead, um, but yeah, you said, that's I never thought of that. That's a good point. Um, yeah, yeah. Assuming things also put me in the spotlight, huh? Yeah. So yeah, I mean that's just an idea. Hopefully that can give you some direction. Um, but yeah, whatever happens there, maybe all this whole time it is you who made a mistake and she just doesn't want to tell you about it. Um, we don't know what it is. It could just be that she's put up giant walls. It could be that she likes you, and because she likes you, she's like, "Oh no, what do I do?" It could be that she thinks that you like her, and she's trying to get rid of you because she's like, "No, I don't want you liking me. I'm okay with friendship, but I don't want you liking me." So, and she's assuming that you like her, and she wants to try to break things off slowly. So she's just being distant. There's all sorts of different stuff that can be going on here, and we don't know what it is. So it's best to go forward knowing that you don't know what it is, acting like you don't know what it is, and not assuming any position in it, because a lot of times that'll just make you out to be a bad person in their eye, um, and hurt the relationship. So, um, yeah, hopefully that helps. That's all I got. Do you have anything to add to that, Joe?
yeah, the only thing I can say, because first of all, wow, Ryan, that was very introspective and awesome. I learned a lot listening to you. Um,
Thanks.
and the
Thank you.
the only thing that I could say to something practical to cope with it would be to just try and put your focus into stuff that you need to get done or stuff that you have to do. Just if you find yourself thinking about this situation a lot, then maybe if you have schoolwork or work to do or projects to work on or anything like that, just throw yourself into that, because what that'll do is that'll separate you from that situation. And if you are feeling any type of an emotional pull, then you could take that energy and put it into something creative. Put it, because that energy can fuel you into a creative endeavor. So I would say, just for a coping mechanism as you work through this issue, one thing you can do is just throw yourself into whatever project you got going on, and focus there. And and even though the weird uneasy feelings might not completely leave you, it will ease that pain, because you will be doing something productive and you'll be focused elsewhere.
Mm-hmm. Nice. That makes sense. That's helpful. Well, cool. Thanks for the question, Science. Yeah. Oh, hey, Princess. Welcome. Good timing.
Princess.
Yeah. Hi. Yeah. No, that was actually a really good question, and I'm glad we got to talk about it because we talk about relationships a lot of times, and it's usually solving something specific, but it's rarely that we get to talk about relationships solving something unknown and really delve into how to handle a relationship when you don't know what's going on,
Hmm.
and how you can hurt things by trying to assume or try different things out and say, oh, maybe it's this or maybe it's this. I'll act this way. When really all you need to do is just let the relationship go on, knowing you don't understand, and really just saying, I don't know. And so I'm just going to act my best, and act like I don't know because I really don't know. Um, so, yeah, anyways, cool. So hopefully that answers or helps you with the issue. Science, it's remember it's a lot up to this other person, not entirely up to you. But I appreciate you trying so hard and wanting to do what you can to help. I think that's so awesome, and I hope I hope that you really do help that person. Um, yeah, you said the problem with this is every solution has the potential to do the opposite. It's so confusing. Yeah. Uh, and it's because relationships aren't one-sided. It's up to two people, you know? And by relationship, I don't mean romantic. I just mean any type of relationship. Um, so yeah, cool. Well, thank you, Science, once again. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for opening up again
Yes.
about the topic. So,
Yes.
uh,
Thank you.
yeah. So again, anybody, if we have toasties to do, but if anybody has anything that they want to address, any issues they're going through, feel free to speak up, because after we do toasties, we don't necessarily have one coming up next immediately. So um, yeah, feel free to uh, write something to give us a topic to talk about. If you have something on your mind, remember it's totally awesome to share, and we'd be glad to talk about whatever it is, even if it's something silly, um, or something small. But anyhow,
Yes. All of the above.
let's move on. So this one is from Toasty. Are you ready, Joe?
Well, we've got Ender Boy
Oh, Enderboy, do they have one here?
posted one yesterday. Yeah.
Oh, really? I didn't realize that. I thought that I had the
And we have Toasty.
yes. Okay. I didn't realize that we had Ender. Awesome. Okay. Well, cool. We can do that then. We'll do Enders and then Toasties.
Okay.
I did not know that. I didn't see it because what's it called?
Create for myself.
Okay. Okay. Let me go to the website.
Yes. So we've got time. I'm sure we can get to both of these.
Ah, here we are. Okay. There's another one too from
Are you
Akil.
having trouble seeing your screen tonight, Ryan?
No, I'm fine. Thanks.
I've noticed some of the sentences in the previous one were.
Do you want to read it? Is that why you're asking?
No, I was just gonna. I was gonna recommend. I use the control and
Yeah.
scroll button to make
Yeah, I'll
it
do that.
bigger.
I think that might make it easier because then the words will actually be bigger. That's fine. I'll do that. Okay. This one's from Enderboy, also known as Matt. It's called Create for Myself. It says this: I think I need to elaborate on what I said in my introduction post. I mentioned that I love fictional words, but I should say that I actually don't read many books or watch a lot of anime or movies. That's because now creating words has, by the way, I'm messing up a lot with my English just because I'm tired, but going on. That is because now creating worlds has taken all of my time. I'll come back to this later, but that being said, the few times I enjoy some piece of art, I'm reminded how much I adore these works of art. Take a climactic moment from an emotional and well-built movie or book, and I go, yes, this is what I want to do. After experiencing said story, I'm going to have the classic artist slash writer's thought. I could still make a better one. And sure enough, imagining my own worlds is a great joy because when I actually get immersed, the story itself untangles itself in my head as second nature. It's like watching a great movie in my head, plus the joy of brainstorming just what's going to happen next. When I was still in elementary school, I'd spend my mornings and free hours just imagining and fantasizing. This is all not to mention the empathy I feel for the worlds in stories. It's like dreams. You spend at least a third of your life just dreaming. Who's to say then that the time you spend awake is any more real or a part of your life than dreams? It's the same with imaginary stories and characters. They're very real in the imaginary worlds they come from. And choosing to be invested and empathize with these abstracts but somewhat real worlds helps to get great experiences. That's true. I'm an introvert after all, so getting to escape our regular world is generally just great. But I'm going off on a tangent too much. In the last 3 years, I've started doing something much more terrifying, materializing these worlds. You see, when I actually have to convey some imaginary world or fantasy that I have, I obviously like spending a lot of time on it, even more so if it's special or important to me. I lately tried doing that with an art piece. And you know what happened? I got sick of thinking of that world because all I could think of was that drawing. And since I had looked at the drawing for over 10 hours, then yeah, it got a bit dull. Recently, I had a realization. After finishing an art piece, I don't think I've ever felt sorry, any more positive emotion than pride. That is probably relatable to a lot of artists, but I tend to nitpick or find mistakes in my art instead. Ultimately, when it comes to stories, how could I explore a fictional world if I know every nook and cranny? I've written some stories, but I can't push myself to get immersed in those writings since I've overthought every sentence in the world already, and word already. So this leads to my confusion. If I'm so passionate about fictional worlds and creating them, why not pursue some creative work? But then again, if all the joy I get out of my own stories is maybe pride and the compliments of others, is it really the best for me? Sure, I'm 15 currently. I have plenty of time to work this out, but I've had my eyes dead set on a certain future for many years now. So much so that I'm scared of staying away from that plan. But maybe I should become, I don't know, an architect? It looks interesting. I have the work ethic to be one, and I could always watch movies and write stories as a hobby. I want to consume and perceive art again. Like I said, drawing and working has taken most of my free time. I don't know. Not dedicating my life to the biggest passion in my life seems like letting the imaginary worlds go down. Or sorry, imaginary worlds down. But to do that, I need to learn how to create for myself. And that's what they posted.
Hmm.
So there's a lot of introspection there, which is cool. I
Yeah.
enjoy. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, I mean, I can relate to you on many of these things, and I would like to hear what you have for these worlds. I think that's so cool. Creating worlds and designing stories in them, exploring them. That's really awesome and fun and enjoyable. And so I get how you can get worked into that or worked up for that.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, when it comes to is that what you want to do with your life, or do you want to do something else like architect, which also is creative?
Hmm.
Um, it's a good question, and it's a question that definitely has to be asked before you, uh, you know, um, get going on a path and then figure out, oh my gosh, I need to turn around and do something else. Of course, those are never that's never wasted time, but
Right.
it helps when you've got some kind of semblance of an idea of the path you want to go on in life. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, there's a lot going on here. I really like the introspection. This was very well written. I'm gonna let Joe take it away.
Well, I appreciate that. I do have one question for you, Ender Boy, and that is, you said here you've had your eyes dead set on a certain future for many years now. So much so that I'm scared of straying away from that plan. I was wondering what is that future that
Yeah.
you've got your eyes set on? Is that the story writing, or is that or drawing? I'm guessing. I'm just wondering what that is that you've had your eyes dead set on. So you can put that in the chat when you get a chance. But I tell you, a lot of people have. It's interesting. I've studied the lives of a lot of different people through reading their books or just looking at where they came from or reading like little bios and stuff like that. Where I look at somebody. I remember this was really really interesting to me when I was in school, in high school, and I ended up getting a CD. And it was the band Boston.
Hmm. Boston. That's
Um,
Kansas.
Okay, Enderboy7 says, honestly, as dumb as it sounds to me sometimes, pursuing animation and sharing with a YouTube channel. Maybe make art and animation separately too.
Yeah.
Hey, that's a great
That sounds dumb to you. Then I'm pretty dumb. Just kidding.
Yes, because we it is not dumb as at all. But here's the thing. I remember getting this CD, the band Boston, and I remember reading through the different, like what each person did and where they came from and all this kind of stuff, right? And they were really popular, successful rock stars for a long time. They released a lot of albums. They put together a lot of music. And interestingly enough, the guitarist, who in my mind at the time was one of the best guitarists. I just loved his technical style. I loved how he didn't really, I mean, he could throw a lot of soul and emotion into his instrument, but his technical skill was what really grabbed me. And I read in his bio that he had graduated from MIT. So he was like an engineering guy, right? So he went to school for engineering, ended up being a rock star.
Interesting.
And so that's very interesting. John Grisham, I believe, he's an author. He's written all kinds of novels about law type stuff. The reason is because he was a lawyer. He went to school, became a lawyer, and now he decided he got into legal fiction, is what he started writing. And now he's this well accomplished author, right? And so I remember hearing this talk a long time ago, that our life is kind of built in layers, right? So you have this dream of creating worlds, creating stories, creating art, animation, all this, and that's a beautiful, wonderful thing. And you should do that. You should definitely do that. And these days, with the technology we have on the internet and the different things with YouTube and different social media stuff you can share, there are ways to make a living doing any of that stuff. It's just figuring out how, and then you also have to figure out how to promote your stuff or get tied in with some people who can promote your stuff. If you're doing mostly the creating, to work together with some people that can promote. Interestingly enough, that's kind of how we put together Black Static and Swerve. We've got a group of people where we all do different things, right? Where we're all good at different things, we have different stuff going on. Ryan creates the majority of our musical content, right? Now, Ryan's brother, Kyle, he handles our finances, and him and I also, we sit and plan a lot of our promotional, campaigns and different stuff that we're going to be launching here very shortly. And different things. We're kind of moving into that realm of how are we going to create this into a business and roll this out where we can then promote. We got Jesse that built our website and handles our website. We've got Steve, who's also a musician, tremendous guitarist. We've got Jeff, he's been in media for years and years and years, and he brings his expertise to the table as far as broadcast media and different stuff like that. So we've got a team of people all working in different areas to put these things together. And sometimes that's what it's going to take in order to do this. Find some people who are good at different things that you can work together on some things with, because to do this, to do the YouTube animation and to promote your stuff, it's going to take, there's multiple hats to wear, as you could say. There's a lot of different tasks beyond just creating and uploading to YouTube. I mean, yes, you can do a lot with just doing that, and you can get a fair amount of exposure as you keep releasing stuff. But a lot of times then it's going to take, other people helping to build things and put things together. So anyway, that's just a side note. For deciding what you want to do, I'm impressed, first of all, Matt, that you're 15 and you're thinking big questions like this. That's very impressive to me, because when I was 15, I wasn't thinking like this at all. I wasn't thinking about things that mattered like this. And so let me just tell you that you are so impressive to me because of just this. Just this one fact alone impresses the living daylights out of me. But now, getting back to the initial thing, I remember hearing this talk that our life is kind of built in layers, right? You're in school right now as 15-year-old. If you're in the United States, your school system is set up similar to the one I went through, where you're kind of halfway through high school, maybe a little bit more than halfway. And so then you're going to be getting done, and then if you choose to, then moving on to college. All that is the layer of like education and preparation and stuff like that, right? And that's the first layer. Then next layer would be something that's going to create some kind of an income, right? So in my case right now, that's my inspections business. I've had other jobs in the past, but it's always been something that creates an income, so I can, pay my bills and eat, and now feed my family and pay lots and lots of money for martial arts, because that's the thing that costs a lot of money. But our life has layers, much like an ogre. Yes, science. Perfect. Onions have layers.
Nice.
Okay, finishing middle school now in Estonia. All right. So you're in this preparatory phase, and then when you get done with that, you're going to be figuring out, okay, what am I going to do to make an income? If there's something you can set up now to make an income, that would be awesome. Through creating, YouTube content and different stuff, if you can create an income for yourself now, and then by the time you get done with your preparation phase, you already have some kind of an income set up, that can be really great. I remember there was a gentleman I got to know named Neil. He was in college, and while he was in college, he started building a business. And he got picked on incessantly because he was so going against the norm for all the other college students that were there. Like like they were just like, what in the heck are you doing? And here he is, he's working on building his business, and everybody else is going to school to try and get their degree and graduate and all that stuff, and then so they can get a job, right, to make some money. But by the time he got finished with college, his income from his business was greater than any income he would get from any job that he had his degree for. Like he had outclassed himself in his business. So when he graduated college, he kind of like retired from the job market. Which is pretty cool, right? And he had learned a lot of stuff about business. So then anytime, if anything fluctuated in his business, he could pick up and start again and do another, and figure out some stuff. But so you've got your preparation phase, you've got your income layer, and then you've got your dreams, your goals, your aspirations. And this is where a lot of us put our mental focus, because that's what's important to us. It's kind of like what we're passionate about. And we make money in our profession so we can fund our passion. And then that's what we build. And from there, a lot of times, if you're doing something you love, you can set up ways to make ongoing income with it. YouTube is a great thing because and releasing stories, releasing any type of production like that, where it can get played over and over and over again. You create it once. You take the time and you build it and make it. And it takes one time that you make it. But then you can get paid for that for years after you make it. We have that. I can point to a specific example, and it's that the song "It's Not Like I Like You." When did that get released, Ryan? 2 years ago?
Something like that.
You haven't worked on it ever since you released it, right?
That's true. haven't worked on it at all.
But from YouTube, Spotify, and other streaming platforms, there has been an income coming from that song since its release. Mm-hmm. And other people have been paid for their efforts for that song since its release. There have been a lot of people paid for their efforts in that. And that's just kind of how these cool things can happen for you. So I just wanted to offer you mainly some encouragement. Oh, you say you've got a friend ordering art from you currently. That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. That is cool.
Yeah. And I'm glad you're here, because there may be a time we may need some art.
That's true.
So I hope you stay in contact with us, because that would be really cool. But anyway, I'm going to stop talking because I've talked for a while. I'm going to let Ryan go and help out some. So.
Okay, sure. Everything Joe said. All right. That's all I got. No. Actually, what Joe said is very, very important, and I just want to talk about one of the things that you said here. You were talking about the pride you get from the work, and if you do it for just your own pride, kind of like, what's the point? Is that really even healthy? You said near the end of the post, you said, so this leads to my confusion. If I'm so passionate about fictional worlds and creating them, why not pursue some creative work? But then again, if all the joy I get out of my own stories is maybe pride and the compliments of others, is it really the best for me?
Mm.
And I want to say, I want to maybe steer you in a direction, because that's so awesome that you thought that thought.
Mm-hmm.
That's a trap that many artists, many musicians, many story writers fall into. They get acknowledgement, or acknowledgement is their fuel, but it's really kind of pointless, because now they're just writing stuff to get attention. It's kind of like, probably you've heard this line before: sex sells. In the media world, sex sells. Does that mean in order to make a lot of money, we should just, add that element into everything we do? No, of course not. That's ridiculous. Does that mean that in order to get that pride, that boost of ego, or whatever, of like lots of people liked our stuff or whatever, or we sold a lot of product, that we should implement that? No, of course not. You don't want to be a loose cannon. where you're only chasing your own pride. You don't want to be firing off all of this stuff that I don't know if it's good or healthy. I don't know. I'm just putting this out there because people like it. Um, you don't want to be that way because you might do a lot more damage than good. What I like about your question is that it asks yourself like, I'm passionate about this stuff. It's cool, it's fun, it's enjoyable. But if it's just for me, then what's it worth? If I'm only doing this for my own, ego or my own um, pride or how other people make me feel when they compliment my stuff, but what's that worth? And I think that's a wonderful question because now you can turn away from that. You know that that's a trap out there. You can acknowledge it and say, okay, instead of doing that, whatever I make, let's make it worth something. Because here's the thing. I mean, you can create worlds, right? And you can create stories, you can create pictures that lead people to something better in life, right? I've had, and this isn't to like gloat or anything like that, but just as an example, I have had many people come to me, sometimes in person, but mostly obviously online, saying, "Your songs have helped me, through my hard times in life. Your songs have taught me, or your songs have changed me into a different person." Um, and those are just my works of art, right? And at BSS, we want to create that culture of people creating stuff that change other people's lives for the better.
Mhm.
There's plenty of stuff out there that change people's lives for the worse.
Mhm.
Um, and hopefully, um, we can be the counterpart to that. Hopefully, we can battle against that, not to win over them and hurt people or just anything like that. Not because we want to be better, but more so because we actually want to help people and we understand that we can. Um, and we know that there is a battle on the other side. There's probably a lot more bad media out there than there is good media out there. And by bad, I mean just bad for your personality, bad for your habits, bad
Mhm.
for your subconscious mind, bad for your health in many different ways. um, so I implore you, Ender Boy, I hope you continue to create worlds. I hope that you write stories and create art and explore those things. Um, but when you do, understand that your just like you said, pride and compliments aren't sustainable motivations. Um, understand that you affect people with those stories. You've watched anime. You've watched movies. Have they not affected you? You even wrote it in your post. Those worlds, those imaginary worlds that you live in when you're watching an anime, it you learn things. It changes who you are inside. You kind of, in a third party sort of way, experience the things that happen in those books. You experience it with the characters, right? And so what's cool about that is you get some experience under your belt that you didn't actually have to suffer through. Um, but you can learn a lot of courage from watching other people be courage in these movies. And you say, oh, that's the kind of person I want to be, like that character. And that was somebody's idea in somebody's world that they created, and it inspired you. Um, and so you have the chance to do the same thing for other people. Write stories that write stories that lift people up, lift people higher, that motivate people, that what's the word? Inspire. That's the word I'm looking for. Inspire people to do good, to be a force for good, to help become the best person they can be. If you write those kind of stories, then not only do you get the wonderful satisfaction of completing a story, not only do you possibly get an income out of it, but you get people whose lives have changed.
Mhm.
You get value and you put value into the world. And I don't mean you chase after it so that you can say, "Oh, I affected these lives and that makes me awesome." Of course not. It's genuine to be genuine and say, "I've affected these lives and I didn't even like that's awesome because I don't have control over that. But I wanted to do that, but it's just so awesome."
Mhm.
Um, you'll never receive a better compliment or a better set of words in your life than when someone comes to you and tells you that you've changed their life for the better. I think that's one of the most beautiful things that anyone can tell you, and you can do that for people. You can make stories that makes that happen for other people. Um, help people experience things they never could have experienced, but then have that change their experiences from then on for the rest of their life. I think that's so cool, and you have that ability within you, especially
Mhm.
if you're so. I bet you are really good at creating worlds if you've been doing this for so long. Um, and I'll tell you, there is. I am on the same page with you. I love creating worlds, and I love um, the sense of wonder. I think wonder is one of the most attractive things
Mm.
in the world. That sense of wonder that like, oh, I wonder what will happen next. Or I wonder what will happen if this sort of thing happened in that world. All of us do that. And that's really fun, really enjoyable. And also what it does is it increases people's sense of wonder in the world around them, which is really important in our current day and age. People have kind of grown a dull eye to the world around them, and they don't have that sense of wonder, and so they don't have that motivation, right? And they need that motivation. They need that emotion that implores them or that carries them through the moments that goes, "Oh my gosh, wait a minute, this isn't a bad situation because I wonder if this happens." That can really change our mindset a lot of times and get us through hard times, and can inspire us to do awesome, amazing things. Um, so I hope that you, whatever you do, you don't stop writing stories, um, creating worlds, sharing those, and using them to create a better world that we live in today. Um,
Mhm.
so, yeah, that's what I've got to say.
That's perfect.
You're perfect.
You're perfect.
Thanks, Joe.
Wow. I'm just still taken aback, Matt. I'm so impressed. I mean,
Yeah,
are
impressed.
you sure you're 15? Or are you just saying that?
He's actually 25. That was a one. It was the mistype. It was a mistype. It meant 25, not 15. No,
Because I was like, some of this introspection, like I didn't experience it
yeah,
until I was in my 30s.
that's amazing, dude. Seriously.
And that was like the lost time of my life because I went straight from 29 to 40.
That's right. You were 29 for many years, man.
Yes. No, thank you, Enderboy7, aka Matt Swilk. You've got so many names, it's awesome.
Mhm. You sure do.
Um, Thank you for posting, and thanks for going to bss.studio, and feel free to post any of your stuff, your artwork, any of your creations.
Hmm.
Post it there on the website. We'd love to see it. Uh, and if you do post something, send me a message about it. Just go to my profile and click on the little mailbox there, a little mail envelope thingy. Send me a message because yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, we're just kidding, Akil. We don't believe that either of us are perfect. just we're just kidding. Just being nice and having fun with it. Um,
In Estonian, there's an expression: "Good kids have many names." Uh-huh.
oh,
That's cool. I had many names too growing up, but they weren't nice ones.
uh-oh.
Yeah, people called me names.
Oh, that. One of my names, okay, this is
what?
a ridiculous name, by the way.
What?
It has nothing to do with my physical attributes or the way I acted, but one of my nicknames that was an insult was Bouncy Boy. And it's
Bouncy boy.
go, okay, bouncy boy. All right. So here's the thing. It has nothing to do with me bouncing up and down or anything like that. It was because I presented to people the theory that everything bounces.
Oh.
And they were like, that's dumb. And I was like, no, you can't name a single object that doesn't bounce. And they're like, okay. And then they came up with things like, okay, I take a pencil and I throw it into the water and it sinks to the bottom of the okay, pencils don't do that. So pen. Okay, I take a pen and I throw it into the water and it sinks to the bottom of the ocean. Does it bounce when it hits the floor? And I'm like, yes, actually it does. And they're like, no, it doesn't. That's stupid. Well, finally, it wasn't until like third year of high school when everybody actually took physics that they learned, oh my gosh, Ryan was right all along. But no one admitted it because that would have been dumb and they forgot about it by then. But everyone was like disagreeing with me and trying to figure out scenarios where things don't bounce. And one of them was like, what if I threw you off the building and you splat when you hit the ground? And I'm like, yeah, I'd bounce. Actually, I would. What would actually happen is I would fall off the building, I would hit the ground, I would bounce up, and I would hit again, and that's when I would splat. And
Oh.
people, dude, you're so stupid. And it's actually true. You that's actually true. If you do, if things that splat, they actually hit the ground twice before they splat.
Oh,
It's
wow.
weird. Physics is weird because it works like that, but yeah. Anyways, yep, I was
Bouncy boy.
like, all right, bouncy boy.
Bouncy boy.
Everyone was so mad at me. I know I didn't have very many friends. I was, yeah. Um,
Well, it's their loss for not being your friend.
yeah. Well, I
That's what
wouldn't
I was
put up
gonna
with me
say.
either.
All right. Well, thank you very much for the topic, Matt.
Yeah.
Enderboy. Swilk.
Thank you so
All the
much.
above.
All right. So now we can go into toasties, right?
Toasty.
All right. Cool.
You know, anytime I see Toasty,
Uh-huh.
I just think of the origami giraffe video.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because in the song where you're like,
Toasty.
yes, because of that.
Nice.
Oh,
All right.
Princess is asking where Toasty's question is. I would like to know that too.
It's on my Discord, and they said it doesn't have to be anonymous. They just typed it on here because of YouTube's limitation on text count. So that being the case, I will copy this and post it at your face, Princess. All right, face. Now
Shampoo, shampoo, shampoo.
All right. So, Joe, why don't you read this one since you don't have it in front of you?
Oh, perfect. Yeah, I'll be sure to do that.
All right. Nice. So, okay, here's how it goes. They said, hope you don't mind me sending this, blah, blah, blah. It was basically just saying that what I just said didn't need to be anonymous, but there wasn't enough word character limit counts, whatever, on YouTube. They wrote this. So my boyfriend is currently in a bad home situation. He has been stuck between two colleges the entire school year. One that he was offered to a full ride for esports, and another that has an amazing architecture and art program. Or, yeah, the two fields he wants to major in. A few days ago, he decided to go with the college that offered the two majors he was passionate about and told his mom. As soon as he told her, she slapped him. Not a tiny slap, a big full-on slap that left a mark on his cheek and started hitting him. On top of that, she verbally abused him, calling him ungrateful, spoiled, and that he should have never been born. I didn't know this happened until he texted me, quote, hey, I need to get out of here ASAP. Please help, end quote. I don't question it in case it was urgent. I think they said I meant didn't. I think they meant I didn't. I didn't question it in case it was urgent and I needed to get to the house immediately. I get there and he's sitting in front of his house, which really concerned me since it was really cold and drizzling. Then his mom picks out and starts calling me a whore and a skank, and a
Oh
bunch of
my.
other very bad words. So I get out of there immediately with my boyfriend, and we go to Burger King, and and he explains everything to me. He's crying and believes, uh, he's crying and believe me, I say he never cries, ever. On top of all of this, his mom isn't letting him eat. So I've been encouraging a bunch of close friends to bring food to him at school or take him out occasionally to get away. It's been about 4 days, and his home life hasn't gotten any better, and she's threatening to kick him out. Can I get some advice on how to support him? It's kind of hard for me because I just don't know how to comfort him.
Mm.
It's been hard for me to stay positive in this situation. Yeah, I could imagine. So that sounds really, really bad, Toasty.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep, that's really bad. Okay. And I have some thoughts on different things you can do. I've experienced I had some friends that in life that experienced similar things. And what their solution was. Hopefully I can offer some of that. Um, but yeah, it's really hard. You're not the one going through it, but you totally can feel, um, you can totally experience all of the emotions that are tied up with that. Um, and so, yeah, I'm gonna hand it over to Joe, and yeah.
Yeah. Uh, Here, anybody who wants to read through it, there's the link for the Princess just posted it on the website. So
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say,
thank you, Princess.
see, but there you are.
Yeah. Toasty says, seeing my boyfriend sad makes me sad. Yeah,
Oh yeah,
I can totally, totally,
totally
uh,
relate. Yeah.
totally relate to that. Wow. Um, all right. So I'm guessing, are you both seniors? Is that okay? So he's getting ready to go to college. Are you as well, or are you younger? I guess is first question. Both seniors. All right.
All right.
So luckily, um, won't be long before you guys graduate and are off to college, and hopefully this will kind of smooth out a little bit. Is this kind of normal for his mom to be this way, or did this just come out of nowhere, or is this kind of something he deals with regularly? That would be another question I would have about this, because wow.
Is it
the,
like a giant mental shift? Like all of a sudden she's just completely different person? Or is it like this has been the kind of they've had a bad relationship this whole
mhm.
life? Whatever.
And I'm guessing the one of the big reasons that she was mad, I mean, I don't know for sure because I'm not there, I don't know, but just from reading this situation here, one of them he's got a full ride, and then the other one he didn't get a full ride to, and so he chose the one he didn't get a full ride. Okay, she usually gets angry at him for a day or two, then forgets it, but this has lasted way longer than usual. Okay,
Mhm. Okay.
so we've got a volatile, maybe a little bit emotional parent there. So wow. So I mean, I can understand her frustration in the sense that, you know, if if she's ever had any kind of financial struggles in her life, then anytime somebody offers you a full ride or something like that, something for free, you know, you take it. And from her perspective, maybe that's what's going through her head, where it's like, okay, you just got offered this full ride over here, why not do that, because then it'll be free. And then he picks the one because of the program, even though it'll cost money or more money. There are probably scholarships available that he could apply for. And definitely always there's financial aid and stuff like that to deal with. But I don't know. I mean, that's so I'm just trying to dig into the background of this whole situation. But either way, what's going on here is really tough. And I tell you, how do you support someone going through that? Sounds to me like you already are. You went and got him, and you took him to Burger King, and you guys sat and talked, and you let him cry, which was probably therapeutic for him. You were there for him, and let him express his emotions. You've got friends that are bringing him food. That's hugely supportive already. So, I mean, sounds to me like you already are being incredibly supportive, and I admire you for that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, oh my gosh, if every time I had some kind of crisis like that, I had someone like you that was supporting me in that way, oh my gosh, that would help. That would have helped me out tremendously. And I'm sure you're being a tremendous help to him. And that's, wow, you're awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Toasty updates. Basically, the college that offered a full ride doesn't have good programs in the field he wants to go into. In addition, the full ride is for esports, which is more of a hobby to him. Okay. So really, really, it seems to me like he's making the smart choice, because he's going to where the programs are better for what he wants to do. That's really what college is for. I mean, probably, I mean, we all get caught in this cultural trap where, we all think, okay, this is what we're taught. You go to high school, you graduate high school, then what do? You go to college and you get a degree. And then that degree is your ticket to getting a good job. Now, we've gotten to the point, I think, where in our culture, a degree is just a degree. You just go anywhere and get any degree. And it's just, as long as you have a degree in anything, you're going to be okay. Just go get a degree, because that's what you're supposed to do. And here, he's like, oh, you can get a degree for free. And because it doesn't matter what you get your degree in, you're going to get a free degree. Go get the degree. But he's using college for what it's for, which is to learn about what you want to pursue. And when you find a place that has a good program in that, that's the logical right choice. So I would say, from my perspective, with my limited knowledge of this situation, it sounds to me like he's making the right choice. And it's too bad that there's that level of conflict regarding this choice. And that's really, really crazy. Wow. And then you get the abuse too. You get called names and stuff like that. So I'm sorry that you've had to go through that as well. But in the back of your head, I want to remind you, Toasty, that you are already being tremendously supportive and comforting and wonderful through this situation. So that's the first thing I want to do, is encourage you and saying you're already doing tremendously more than a lot of people I know would do in this situation. So you are being a tremendously supportive person. And sometimes comforting someone, you don't always know what's going to work, especially in these types of situations, especially if it's kind of a new type of situation where this is kind of different than it's been in the past. So it might be hard for him to really process all of the feelings that are going on in him as well. especially if, like, I don't understand the not letting him eat part. Like that seems ridiculous to me. Like
That's
why
pretty
would
weird.
you not want your kid to eat? Like, I don't know. That it's outside of my brain. I don't know how to process that either. So, I mean, one of the best things you can do is just help him understand that you're there and be there. And that's kind of what you're already doing, is you're being there for him. Even if you don't have a whole lot to offer, you have yourself, and you can be there and just, let him cry, let him get emotions out, let him talk through what's going on. Maybe he's not wanting to talk. It might just be good to just be there and sit there in silence. That's one of the things. I mean, guys, if you'll notice, it's funny. Like when guys stand together and talk, most of the time they stand side to side and look out and look, at the world or something. They stand side to side. And it seems to me that a lot of times when girls are talking, they stand face to face and they talk to each other. It kind of shows how, a little bit of a difference that between guys and girls. So also a thing to remember is him just being silent, it might not necessarily be a problem. Sometimes he might just need to sit there quietly and process things in his head quietly, silently. And it is helpful that you're there with him,
Hmm.
because I understand how that might be a little bit frustrating if he's not talking to you, or if you're asking questions, he's not answering them, or he's just answering one word answers because he's just trying to process all this stuff and figure it out in his head. And from your perspective, it might feel like, well, what am I even here for? Like, so I can understand the confusion there. But just remember that you being there, unless he says otherwise, unless he says that he needs to be alone or something like that for a while, the fact that you're there is helping him. Even if you're not talking, even if he's just processing.
Hmm.
So keep that in mind as well as you're going through this. And I don't have all the answers for this. Like I said, some of these things are just so outside of my, scope of what things should be like. It just blows my mind. But I'm going to turn it over to Ryan and let him talk some.
All right. Yeah, I really like what you said there, Joe, because it's so true. When someone's down, sometimes, especially for guys, um, just spending time with them, even if that's completely in silence, it helps so much because they know you're on their side and they know that you are caring and that you're there for them and that you love them and you just don't have the words to say, and neither do they. Um, People are generally very aware of that and they're very appreciative. Um, so it seems like you're already doing the right thing. I'm like Joe said, I'm so glad that you went on your way to go pick them up and things like that,
Mhm.
and that you're there for them. So yeah, just continue doing that. And then the other thing I wanted to talk about was this: when you have yourself a situation where living at home is like this. Um, for example, I have a friend who didn't live in a very good home, um, and at one point, so he was actually my brother's friend, but regardless, at one point, m- I'm not sure exactly how it happened, but it was something along the lines of my brother went to my mom and said, "Hey, so this is what this person is going through. Is it all right if they stay with us for a while?" And my mom said yes. And so this friend of my brother's stayed with us for several months while things kind of cooled over. Um, so we have friends in life, right? We have people that can help us out. There are good people in the world. Um, and people who are willing to lend a hand to their son or daughter's friend. Um, and hopefully there is an adult that can do that. What I'm suggesting here is that he basically what I'm suggesting is that he try to find a way to live in a different place for a while,
Mm,
um, to help things cool down,
mhm,
um, because that can help a lot, and not only help um, not only help him with his emotional battle and all of that stuff that's going on there and making sure he can actually have food to eat and stuff like that, not only help in those realms, but also it can help the situation that's going on at home by relieving some of that stress for a time. It can cool things down so that his relationship with his mom isn't in such an upheaval, in a it's so upside down, you know. um, but anyhow, I've seen many times where people leave for like a year and come back, and all of a sudden their parents treat them completely differently,
mm,
like better. I mean, they used to be terrible to them all the time, and now all of a sudden they're like, you're not, you're like being nice and stuff. This is weird." Like, and they're like, "What are you talking about? I've always been nice." Yeah, you know, you know. They go, they are significantly different because the person has been away for long enough and then come back that it feels to the parent like they need to be a good parent again. They aren't so comfortable that they can just let out all of their anger on the person. Instead, they treat the person a little bit more like a stranger, where they're at least friendly. Um, so that all being said, you can ask your parents, um, and say, "Hey, you know, I know it's my boyfriend, and this is really weird. You know, I don't want anything, weird to come out of this, but um, if he could stay with us for a while, that would really help." You said, "I talked to my mom. She said he can stay for small periods of time. For
mhm,
now, I've been talking or taking him out of the house whenever I can." Awesome. That's really good. Seems like you're doing the right thing there already then. Um, having him for small periods of time, that's cool. Um, I would ask his friends for him if he's afraid to ask himself. I would encourage him to ask around for his friends to give him a hand here in this aspect, to ask their parents to kind of just let him stay with them for a short time,
mhm,
maybe just a month. Um, a month's not a big deal to an adult. A month is a big deal to a kid because it lasts forever. But like someone who's like my age or Joe's age, a month goes by and it's like not a big deal. All right. So um a month can do a lot though. So yeah. Um ask tell him to ask his friends for a place to stay for a couple of weeks or a month or something. Um our friend ended up staying with us for about 2 or 3 months and it was fine. Um and Yeah, I think that's really one of the best solutions in this scenario, to just get out of the house. Because here's the thing, I mean, if you think about the world, right? If you think about humanity and think about like the ancient world, you used to be able to just be like, okay, well, if I don't have food here, right, then I'm just going to go out into the forest and I will forage for food because I can do that. And I can be my own person. I can be my own man. I don't have to rely on my family.
mhm,
And that's still true today, though. We forget that we're our own individuals, and and that we're strong enough to make it, and we can leave home. Um, it's scary because it's the unknown, but sometimes it's better to be homeless than it is to be at a home that treats you like dirt. Everyone thinks that being homeless is the worst of all worst. That's the worst that could ever happen. And that's not true. Like I just said, it could be better to be homeless than to be in a home that doesn't treat you well at all, that abuses you, right? That hits you, that screams at you, says terrible things to you. I'd rather be homeless. Sorry, but it's true. And I think, um, not that I want him to go homeless. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying, people can make their way and they don't have to be so afraid.
Mhm.
Um, People can leave their house and it's okay. Um, there's no reason to be afraid of that. Um, and yeah, but I think, for the most part, Simply Toasty, you're um, doing a lot of the right stuff already. So, you just got to keep on being a support. And I understand that the situation is depressing. It can make everybody around you sad. Um, and it's okay to be sad. It's okay to be sorrowful. It's okay to it's okay to sit there and be like, man, I wish I could be cheerful and make a joke to make this, but, I don't know if that's appropriate even. Yeah, no, it's okay to just be sad. It's okay to sit in sorrow for a time. At some point, you got to move on, right? Um, but that moving on is going to come through him. Um, you said his art teacher gave him a gift card to buy food. Wow.
Mm,
I'm really
nice.
grateful that he's getting support from her as well because he really looks up to her. That's so cool. Um, she sounds like a great person. That's really, really good. It's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's another thing too. I mean, you got to make sure it doesn't impede on teacher-student laws that are set forth. But I mean, there's a possibility that he could house with a different grown-up that's not necessarily his friend, but like a teacher or something like that, um, just for a time. There are teachers that are willing to reach out and open up their homes for students who are really in need, and I think that that's insane and amazing. Um, but you got to think from the adult's perspective. What's the child going to do? The child's not like a stranger that's coming in like a thief. The child is the one who's been abused, and you're just trying to help them out, right? So, um, yeah, just keep reaching out, and keep on encouraging him to reach out, even though it might feel shameful. It's not. It might feel embarrassing, but there's no reason to feel embarrassed. Um, when you're in the position where you need help, you ask people for help. That's what kind of like what we're here for, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and helping other people makes us feel good inside. And so honestly, you're giving other people the opportunity to feel good inside. But it makes us better people too. He tried his dad too, but he said no because he lives in a really bad neighborhood. He doesn't want to put my boyfriend in danger.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well,
Interesting response. Um,
that's that's good that he's looking out that way.
yeah. Yeah, no one's in this alone. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, but I mean, that's all I've got really. But I think you're doing a lot of the right things already. You guys are on the right way, on the right steps. Um, and just, I guess, it seems like you're doing all the right things, but, yeah, just remember it's okay to be sorrowful. It's okay to be in that silence. And just being around him, um, is the help that he needs. So is
Mm-hmm.
you are being his emotional backbone right now, I'm sure. So keep on keeping on there. Did you have anything you wanted to add, Joe?
Just one thing, and that is this is a really, really tough struggle.
Hmm.
There's a saying I heard a long time ago that has always helped me when I was going through a tough time. That is that when you're going through a hard time like this, just think the harder the conflict, the more glorious the victory.
Nice.
Because there is going to be a time when this will be over.
Hmm.
Everything passes. Everything passes. And and when we go through a hard time like this, it's setting us up for something glorious on the other side of it.
Hmm.
even if it's just being relieved from that situation, it's going to feel so glorious because you're going to be done with this nonsense. And it's really, it sounds like it's a matter of time because you're both going to college. He's been accepted at 2 colleges. They would be glad to have him. So he's going to be able to go and be out. And I don't know what if he was planning on living on campus, doing whatever, but I would, you know, hey, whatever you got it, whatever's got to happen to make that happen, he's going to be able to be out and gone. And then that's going to feel like a tremendous victory just at that point in time. But wow, but yeah, just kind of tuck that in the back of your head. The more the harder the struggle, the more glorious the victory.
And I really like that you said this won't last forever. Sometimes when we're in scenarios, we just can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, and we just feel like we're stuck there forever. But it's important to remember, hey, this is just a time. This is just a season. This will pass, and it's going to be over with. And so don't get too emotionally wrecked up now, because soon enough, this isn't even going to be a thing anymore. So, you know.
Yep. No, you're not cheesy. You're not cheesy, Toasty. You're toasty.
You're toasty, not cheesy. Toast, though. That sounds good.
Yeah. Wow. So yeah. Oh, and I need to have a book recommendation.
Oh yeah, what are you
Because
doing?
book recommendation for this topic is Peaks and Valleys. It's the name of the book. Let me look it up. Somebody's gonna put the author name on here before me, I bet.
Snowlock Holmes. I don't know how this happened, but you wrote "but" like the rear end of it. You wrote what you wrote is politics up, but
Peaks and Valleys by Spencer Johnson. Yes. Thank you. Why do we do this? There we go. Oh, and she already posted a link. Man. Princess, you're so good.
Yeah, Princess is phenomenal.
But click my link.
Clink it.
Click my link if you're gonna buy it, because we're affiliates of Amazon.
Are we?
Yes.
Oh, we really are now?
Yeah.
Did we get that all? Really? Nice.
Yeah.
Way to go, Joe. Way to go, Joe Kyle. Team.
Yeah. That was one of our things that we did.
When'd you do that?
Oh, that was a long time ago.
Oh, okay.
Sponsored by Amazon and Burger King. Yeah, baby. But no, that is a great book to help you out, and it's written as a story. So those are always my favorites. When you're going to learn stuff and it's written as a story, so it's easy to read. But Peaks and Valleys, man, there's even a little card in that book. There's a little pocket card, with little pocket reminders. I carried that thing in my wallet until it fell apart and I couldn't read it anymore. Just that little pocket reminders from that book, because it was so impactful on just, the dynamics of when you're down, having a really tough time, and then the peak on the other side of it. And then, but that's not going to last forever either. You're going to have another valley. You're going to have another challenge, and then just remember, what brought you back to the next peak. So you're in a valley right now with your boyfriend, and he's in a really, really tough one right now, but he's going to come out and it's going to be great.
Yes. You guys will get through this.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's always important to remember. When you're in a situation that things are not okay, it's always important to remember, I will get through this, though. Whatever happens, I will get through this. And honestly, it's that confidence in life that I will get through it, that keeps me emotionally sound at every moment. Struggles come my way from time to time, right? But I don't usually get worked up because I always know even this will pass. It's like whatever, it's just another thing. Like, yeah, it's terrible, but life goes on and life is still amazing. Life has a ton of beautiful things to appreciate in it. Um, and I am so thankful for all that I have, even if, things are tough, you know? Um, so it's important to always remember that things will pass and life is still amazing.
Yep. But thank you for being the supporter that you are,
Yeah.
Toasty.
Thanks, Toasty. You're awesome.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, this is going to be the end of our stream here today. You
Yeah.
guys are all wonderful. Thank you for joining us. Um, yeah, and thanks for asking more questions, guys. We'll be back here next Wednesday, and we will get to those. So I hope you come around. Those who asked, I know that Snowlock Holmes is working on one, and someone else was it Silver Moon? I can't remember. But anyways, we've got a couple more. So thank you guys so much. And we'll get to those next Wednesday if you're around. And
And
so
yes, Snowlock Holmes, you can just direct us. You can direct message either Ryan or I, and you can post it in the chat. You can post it on the website, dww@bss.studio, email, and eventually we're going to put Ryan's phone number on here.
Interesting. Didn't know that one. Wow. Well, that's the
You didn't
plan,
know?
guys. Heard it.
Yeah, Kyle and I are cooking that one up too.
All right. Yeah, you're trying to figure out an advantageous way to get my number onto this this chat here. I get it. Nope. Whatever sells the product, right? If it's your phone number attached to it, right? That's
Yep, we're gonna put Ryan's phone number on it.
0118999.
So it's 9119725.
3. Yeah. 0118999
8819 9119725 3.
Yes. Nice. Love that number. It's great. Messenger pigeons, yes, please. I accept message by pigeon. Because pigeons are cool. I like birds.
Me too.
Good. Cool. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us today. And we will see you next time if you come or next time you're here. But whatever happens, we hope you have an amazing life. And we were so happy to have you here. So bye-bye.
And happy Easter.
Oh, happy Easter. Yeah.
It's coming.
It's coming. It's like 2 days.
Yes. Bye, guys.
Bye.